Mr. Michel, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. I'd like to begin by drawing your attention to an investigation that Sky News has been following for many, many months. Our reporting has found that luxury cars from the UK and Europe, along with heavy machinery and drone equipment, are making their way into Russia via countries like Azerbaijan and Georgia. This is clearly in violation of the sanctions. I mean, I just want to get your response to that, because it is clearly violating those sanctions that were put in place. And I just want to know whether you think that they are having any kind of effect.
I can assure you that we are absolutely determined on the EU side to implement very tough sanctions against Russia. But this is true that this is challenging, because we know that this is extremely important to counter all the attempts to circumvent our sanctions. And that's why we are making decisions every week so that we can fine-tune, calibrate our sanctions in the best possible way, because our common will is very clear. We want to cut the financing of the Russian war machine. This is not easy. This is complex. This is the first time in history that the EU is putting in place such a level of sanctions against a country, but I can tell you that we are absolutely determined to do everything to be effective, to be efficient, and to cut as much as possible the financing. And we engage a lot with third countries. I can tell you that when I meet many colleagues outside of Europe, we discuss and we monitor the data so that we can identify when we can observe that there are things that are not acceptable, and so that we can react.
But we can see that this is happening under the noses of the authorities. I mean, do you think that you should be sanctioning third countries now as well? Because clearly these sanctions, 2 years on from this conflict, are not having the desired effect. I know you're saying you have the will to do it, but we are seeing that it isn't having that huge an impact on the Russian economy, and certainly these sorts of breaches continue to take place.
Yeah, I just can repeat what I just said before. We are absolutely determined. It has an impact, it has an effect, for sure, there is no doubt there is an effect, but this is absolutely true, that this is a framework, an ambitious framework to target the Kremlin, to target Russia, but you know that when we make decisions, there are actors which are trying to use some weaknesses and some margins of maneuvers, and that's why this is so important to adapt constantly, and it's what we do. Each European Council meeting is the occasion to discuss what is the state of play, what we can do in a more efficient way, but I suppose that you have no doubt that we are still determined to sanction Russia, because we do not accept this blatant violation of the international law by Russia. We do not accept that Russian behavior that puts the European continent at risk, but that also puts at risk the multilateral order.
Are you looking at the situation right now in the United States and thinking, if there is a change in power, if we do see a Trump 2.0, that could have an impact on the situation in Ukraine and support for Ukraine, given some of the things that President Trump has said?
The most important thing, this is absolutely clear, that we will always respect the choice that will be made by the American voters, and we do not intend to interfere in the American elections. It's my first point. And my second point, I don't know what will be the choice of the American voters, but one thing is absolutely certain. If the United States, which is an important country in the world, is determined to demonstrate to all the authoritarian regimes across the world that we are serious when we defend the rules-based order, then it's important to show that we are not weak with Vladimir Putin.
Do you think that President Trump will do that? Do you think President Trump will do that?
I don't intend to speak on behalf of President Trump. I just know that the American society, I think, would not accept a leadership which would show a certain weakness with an authoritarian regime. Russia is an authoritarian regime. Russia is trying to test the solidity, the boldness of the transatlantic alliance, and I'm confident that the American society will make sure that the American leadership will follow the interest of the American society.
You have, and other European leaders have maintained that you will stand with Ukraine, whatever it takes, for however long it takes. But are there other discussions, plans on the table? Do you think that a time will come where Ukraine will have no choice but to negotiate with the Russians?
What we want, this is Ukraine in a very strong position, and that's why we've decided to support Ukraine as much as we can, with financial support, with military support, with political support. We have decided to enlarge the European Union and to grant the candidate status to Ukraine. And when Ukraine will become a member of the single market, it will be a powerful support for the economic development and for the rebuilding of the country. We stick to the principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity. It means that we support the proposal of just
Mr.
peace
Michel,
formula
do you
proposed by Vladimir Zelensky, because this is based on the UN Charter. We don't want war. On the contrary, we want peace, and that's why we have immediately reacted by supporting Ukraine, because we do not accept this attempt by a permanent member of the Security Council to attack not only Ukraine, but to attack the democratic principles and to attack the sovereignty of Ukraine. And you know that there are two battles. There's a terrible military battle on the ground, and the Ukrainian people, they are suffering a lot. There is also a political battle within the international community. And we are here in New York. We have many bilateral meetings, many conversations, private and public, to convince our colleagues across the world that if we want more stability, if we want more security, we cannot accept this precedent. We cannot accept that the use of force would set the rules. On the contrary, we believe in a world based on principles, based on human rights, based on respect for the territorial integrity and sovereignty of each nation.
Mr. Michel, I am currently talking to you from the Middle East. I'm in Beirut. We saw in the last 24 hours the death toll here in Lebanon rise well above 550. We understand something like 50 children have been killed. Women are also part of the number of people who have been killed. Are you having those same conversations that you are about Ukraine in terms of the conflict in the Middle East? Because certainly when you speak to people here, they do feel like the international community is asleep. They're not having the conversations to try and de-escalate the situation here on the ground.
I'm extremely clear that there is only one UN Charter and only one assessment and interpretation about how the UN Charter must be implemented, and the international law must be respected by everyone, always and everywhere. I'm extremely clear. And it's why we support Israel, and it's right to exist, and we support Israel, and it's right to defend itself. And we condemn this terrible attack launched by Hamas against the people of Israel. At the same time, we ask the government in Israel to respect the international law, to respect the principle of proportionality. We ask this government to accept a ceasefire. And at the same time, we are very, very clear when we told to Iran, we do not accept the way Iran is taking initiatives to destabilize the region using proxies. We do not accept the attempt by Iran to have the nuclear weapon. We do not accept the role played by Iran in supporting Russia with military equipment. And we speak with one voice. We coordinate with our partners. 2 weeks ago, I visited all the Gulf countries. We discussed a lot how we can work together to make irreversible the two-state solution, how we can work together to have a ceasefire, to have the humanitarian access. And what is going on today in Lebanon is terrible. This is a tragedy, and civilian life matters always and everywhere, in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Lebanon.
Mr. Michel, thank you so much for joining us here on the program.
Thank you. Thank you.